When the Final Fantasy VII Remake released back in 2020, many fans were surprised by the inclusion of side characters such as Kyrie Canaan and Leslie Kyle. Only the most dedicated Final Fantasy VII fans would have previously known of these characters, who first appeared in the novel entitled The Kids Are Alright, a Turks side story. This book is a prequel to the movie Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. These two characters have become quite popular with the players since, and even encouraged me to buy the novel for my ever-growing Final Fantasy collection. Upon reading this book, I began to ponder to myself, were these characters included in Remake just as an homage to the wider compilation? Or is there something more to it? What secrets are they hiding? And will we see them again outside of Midgar? This is Wutai Clan Gaming, and today we are going to dive into the character of Kyrie Canaan and discuss what I think Kyrie's role will be in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But before we get started, I as always would greatly appreciate you to infinity if you would consider clicking on that subscribe button and hitting that little dingy bell so you don't miss another one of these videos. But enough blabbering, let's get to the video.
Quit playing with your dinghy.
In Final Fantasy VII Remake, Kyrie Canaan is a spunky, 17-year-old girl who resides in the Sector 5 slums in Midgar. She lives there with her grandmother Miriel. Kyrie lost her parents at a young age, but it was not just for any old reason. You see, they were actually murdered due to their careers as thieves. Kyrie's entire family were actually all thieves, with pickpocketing being one of their specialties. This point is seen in both the book as well as the Final Fantasy VII Remake. When players first get eyes on Kyrie in Remake, she can be seen sitting on the train. She appears to be getting harassed by the man next to her, as she will say,
"Why don't you learn to take a hint, buddy?"
Her name, of course, is not revealed here, but players will notice that, unlike other random NPCs, she has question marks over her dialogue, indicating her identity is of some importance that we will find out later on in the game. Players can encounter Kyrie a few more times throughout the game, gossiping and whatnot, before she has a more major scene in the game where she is seen spreading propaganda against Avalanche and Wutai. The Wutai stuff actually, for some reason, made fans speculate that she would have some relation with Yuffie Kisaragi, or that she would later on have some type of encounter with Yuffie. Funnily enough, Kyrie would appear in Yuffie's DLC in the Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, which I thought was really cool. But back to Kyrie's role in the main game. Soon after this, we have to track Kyrie down for a side quest as she's pulled her tricks on Johnny and mugged the poor sap for all he's worth. I think this was another quality fans saw that they instantly related to Yuffie, with the latter stealing the party's materia in the original game. The party tracks down Kyrie in Aerith's church, and this is where things become interesting, if you have read the book. This is actually the last time in the main game that we see the Tomboy Bandit, and I feel like that holds some very big significance. The day that Kyrie lost her parents as a child, the person who told her to head home that day was none other than a young Aerith herself. As kids, Kyrie and her friends would play in the church with Aerith. On the day that Aerith told Kyrie to go home, as she sensed Kyrie's parents returning to the life stream, Kyrie would arrive home and see her parents' bodies being carried out of her home. After this, during her next encounter with Aerith, she would call Aerith creepy to her face, and said she didn't want anything to do with her anymore, and she would avoid her afterwards. Now in the book, Kyrie definitely felt some guilt after she found out that Aerith had died, and she definitely, it must have sucked for her because she didn't get to, apologize to Aerith or see her again after this. It's never fun whenever your last interaction with somebody is something negative like that. So Kyrie definitely felt some sort of guilt after finding out about Aerith's death in the book. Now, how does everything tie together here, you ask? Well, if you look back at every single appearance of Kyrie in Final Fantasy VII Remake, yes, even when she is just a random NPC in the background, one thing is missing from every one of those scenes: Aerith. Now, is this a coincidence? I don't think it is. The writers of this game know exactly what they are doing. Nojima knows exactly what he is doing, and this entire remake project has shown us that the entire Final Fantasy VII compilation is being reborn, no pun intended. To me, the idea to include Kyrie again in Yuffie's DLC shows that there is more life in this lovable side character, and I think it's only just the beginning for her. I think them not having Aerith present at any of the points that Kyrie is around is genius. I feel that when they do meet up, It'll be extremely meaningful, and their past will be touched upon. But where and when exactly will that be? Here is my theory. I think that we will encounter Kyrie again in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth in Wutai. I think she'll be there again, spreading more misinformation to the locale there. But when our party meets her, it'll be during the Yuffie Steals Your Materia side quest, which I think will happen a lot earlier in the story this time. I think it'll be right after Yuffie's been stolen by Corneo, but this time it isn't Elena of the Turks who is being taken alongside her, which in the original game prompted the Turks to work together with our heroes to save the girls. But rather, Aerith and Tifa are also going to be captured alongside Yuffie by the slimy old pervert. So yeah, I think the party will enlist the help of Kyrie for this part of the game, another change made from the original, much like Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse's situation being different in Remake. I think this will act as Kyrie's redemption, and she will get to see Aerith again, and actually help her and be her friend once more. What I think Kyrie will do in this situation is, well, I mean, heck, she can cause a major distraction with being so loud and animated as she is, or, you know, she has her pickpocketing and swindling ways. But I think, you know, probably in this situation with the Dawn, she'll probably use some sort of feminine wiles to, you know, trick the Dawn, only to do what Cloud, Tifa, and Aerith threatened to do earlier in the game to the Dawn, and hit him right in the manhood. Kyrie is gonna save Aerith, Tifa, and Yuffie and help bring an end to things with the Dawn. Now, you may be asking me, but James, but Wutai, what about Leslie? He's the one who has the beef with Corneo. Well, dear viewer, this is just my theory.
That's your theory. So we'll see what happens.
It's quite possible that this could be Leslie's spot in Rebirth, but I opted to go with this for Kyrie. I do think Leslie will be involved heavily in the story as well, though. And I may touch upon that in a future video, so yeah, be on the lookout for that. But, anywho, that about wraps it up for today's video. Please do tell me what you think of my idea, and what do you think Kyrie's role will be in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? Or are you one of those who thinks she's not going to be featured at all? I mean, that's highly possible, but I really do believe she's going to be. This has been Wutai Clan Gaming, and if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, dislike, subscribe, hit the dingy bell, and I'll see you next time.